Welcome everybody. So this is a new tutorial and this is covering the PHP classes. Now in the previous tutorial, if you watched them, just we covered include and require. So just comment this out here by this hashtag symbol. Now let's create a class. A class can be created by writing class, then you can write car and then curly brackets. And obviously I need the PHP tags. So I'm gonna go here and now I've created a class successfully. Awesome, right? Now the classes are used to represent something, an object. So in this case it's a car. The classes have properties and they have methods. Properties are basically variables and methods are functions. So, okay, this is a bit about commenting. I'm gonna add this here. And let's create a property. So the property is a variable inside the class, as we said. And it's gonna be public string. Declare the data type if you want. And it's gonna be an, let's say brand. So now we have created a variable. And let's create another one, public string model. So the car has a brand and it has a model, right? It can have colors, it can have a lot of attributes, basically. So here we define the attributes of the properties. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down here and we're gonna say, we're gonna add the getters and setters. So when we instantiate a new class, we basically do this. Excuse me. So if we say Honda is new car, now we have created a new object. So basically this one. So if I were to debug Honda, let's see what's we're gonna get. We get this object, right? When we're debugging. Now, by the way, this debug is coming from here, this function. So there we have our object. Awesome. So what are these gonna do now? These variables, these properties. Now I can say public function set brand, and I'm gonna say this. Now this is a keyword meaning referring to this object. So basically this is the car. Now it doesn't make sense for you right now, probably, like it didn't for me at the beginning, but this is basically like same as writing like car, kind of. Yeah, I don't know if that was a good explanation, but it's basically this class, it's referring to this class. So I'm gonna access, how am I gonna access this variable is I'm gonna write this brand. So this class is brand. Otherwise, how would you, because you cannot write this one, like, you know, brand, because in its local scope, it should become from here. So if you want to access the classes variables, you just this, and then it's gonna get this one. Now this has not a value right now, so it's just a declared variable. So we have created this public function, and we are setting this brand. But to set this brand, we wanna come here, and we're gonna say Honda set brand. And it's the same thing again. You see, I can write this. I can use this arrow to access this function or this method here, because Honda is basically this object. So it's like doing again. It's like doing again car. You know this, to access this function. Because Honda is an instantiation of this class. Now don't get confused here, we will see. So Honda set brand, because I have created this function already here. So if I was to try another function, set model, it's not showing, it doesn't exist. It's gonna give an error. Let's see. Give me a second before we jump here. Okay. If I refresh, call to defined function. It makes sense, right? We don't have a model set model function. So let's remove this. let's take this back here. And now I'm gonna pass the variable here. So I'm gonna pass this parameter. See, takes one argument. I'm gonna say brand, I'm gonna say Honda. So what I'm doing is I'm passing this Honda parameter here, and it's basically setting this brand. So this variable is gonna store the value I give it with a set brand. So basically this Honda is gonna come here. It's gonna get stored into this variable. And now this car contains this car brand contains this Honda brand. Okay, so this is basically the value that the brand gets. So let's see what happens. Undefined property Honda, line 32. Let's see, of course we need to return also. Sorry for that. Undefined property Honda. Okay, I'm doing something wrong. Public function set brand. We're doing set brand. Return this brand. Yes, this brand is brand. Because now we're saying this brand becomes the one we give it inside, of course. Okay. So we're gonna do something similar now. So now you see the car object contains this brand. Honda is Honda. Yeah, that's a bit weird. So let's do this instead. We are going to create we created a set brand, which we're gonna set the car's brand, and now we're gonna get it. So we're gonna get the brand of this car. And you understand how it goes, right? So we're gonna set brand, get car, set model, get model. So we're gonna access all the car's information after. So I'm gonna, to get the brand, I don't need to pass any parameter because we're gonna get this variable which is already set here. So I'm gonna say return this brand. Sorry, I did this wrong also. I have the microphone very close to my face and I cannot see the screen. It's a sec. So, all right. So, get brand. So I'm setting the brand here, Honda, and now I'm gonna do debug Honda, and now we're actually gonna get the brand Honda. And if you saw the mistake before, it was because I had the $sign here. Which was wrong. You don't need the $sign when you use this. It's gonna access this property. You don't need the $sign. So now we have successfully created a brand. We have used get setters and getters, and then we got this brand of the car. And we can actually do the same thing. Honda set model. Let's just copy paste here. Let's leave one. Set model, get model, and then just copy paste. So, and there we have it. Model, yes. So if I do set model, what do we want to set here? Honda Civic type R. Refresh, and then we get the model also. So now this car is an object that has inside these values, these properties that contains these values. So I can have, imagine I can have like hundreds of things inside this object. Now what happens if I do this Toyota is new car, and I debug Toyota. Am I gonna have these same variables into this this same values into this variable here? The answer is no, because it's a new object. So every time we create a new object, this has default values, so this is going to be empty as it's a new object. But this Honda has still the same values we gave here specified. So that's the thing, you can create many objects and so on. So imagine if you had to do this in just without classes. You will have to write this thing like a million times for every new car. Awesome. Now we have some magic methods also. Public function construct, which is a constructor. It's called a constructor. And every time I do this new car, this is the first thing that's getting called. So if I write hello this and I refresh, I get this 2 times. The reason is because I have 2 instances. Let's remove these instances. So if I debug Honda, I'm gonna get this 1 time. So imagine every time I call this new car, this gets passed in. Okay. So another thing I can do is, for example, I could do this. This set brand, let's say Honda. So basically, I'm gonna remove it here. Now I'm gonna refresh, and you see it's the same thing again, but I removed it from here because it's already doing it for me in the constructor. Another thing I can do is this brand. So I can actually do this. Look how much the code minimizes now. So I can just add it here, Honda, and I can add this model here. And we're passing it in the constructor model. And I'm gonna say this brand is brand. Or actually, I can say this set brand. Brand. Sorry. Set model, and then it's gonna be model here, right? So look, I just passed them here, and it's basically gonna be the same code, but it's gonna pass it already the constructor. So I'm gonna refresh, and then I get them here. So if I change to Honda S2000, magic, right? Amazing. So we have getters and setters, and yeah, that's pretty much very basics of the objects. And then you have also private string, or let's say private int year. Now let's see what that is. Again, copy paste, set year, get year. By the way, use also a camel case here, set and get. Let's say year. Awesome. So we have again set year and get year. This is our property, this is our method. And what we want to do now is we want to access this, but this is private. So let's see what we get now. Debug Honda, nothing. Let's set it here. This set year. Now if I do this, it's going to give an error, of course, because I don't have any parameter here. So set year, yes. So I'm gonna do this 2001. So you see this private year car private, so it's telling me it's private, so you cannot access it everywhere. Now let's see, just give me a second. Let's see this function. I can also make we have public private and protected. So we can use public, private, and protected depending on what we want to do. Just a second. See here. So if, for example, let's leave this actually public, and let's say get here is going to be private. So I'm going to use this function. Sorry, set here, yes. And I'm going to say this Honda debug Honda get year. Now what's going to happen here? This is a private function. Call to private method from global scope doesn't work. We can only access this private inside the class, but not here. This is outside the class. So for example, I could do this public function get year raw. This is just an example now, just to show you what I mean. And I can say return this get year. So if I use this one, it's gonna work, and it's because this is public and it's getting already the data from inside here, and then I'm actually taking it from here. It's a bit confusing, I understand. So let's remove it, but the private functions or the private properties are only used inside the scope. So this car. So actually let me show you the variable also. So if I do private int here, this year is year, call to undefined, sorry, this, okay, year here, on this. So now we see protected private, as we saw before with private. Public can be accessed from everywhere. Protected can be accessed within the class. And private can, let's say, can be accessed within the class. So basically these two are similar. Protected is also, it can be used when you, if there is another class derived, but that's another lesson. So yeah, for now use public and maybe experiment with private a bit, and protected is a bit later. I would say so if you're a complete beginner. So that's basically the, I think, scopes, or what, I don't know what this is called, the public, protected, private, but yeah, so they're important, of course. Construct, we also have this struct, public function destruct. Let's see here, which I have not used so much, to be honest. Let's call this. So this is called in the end of our PHP script, or here, the class, sorry, not the script, the class. Done. So if I do this, it's gonna give me this, done. Basically, construct, these are called magic methods. Construct comes when you call the class, when you instantiate. So new car, I do this new car, this function is called, and it's gonna use all these things here. And destruct is gonna fire in the end of this class. So, and I think that's it. You can also use constants. Let's say you can use, for example, color. Now it's not so good idea to do this, but because we have, we don't want to mix too many variables. But let's say, say no, yeah, yellow. No, sorry, yellow. Constant should be used with. It's a good practice to use with the uppercase. So I can access this by doing echo Honda. Now if I do this, Honda, see, it's going to give me an error, undefined property, because it's not a property, it's a constant. So I forgot the name. Color. So to use this, you have to add these two semicolons to access a constant inside a class. And yeah, we're gonna use more. I'm gonna do more tutorials on that, but this is the very basics of a class, you know, just to get to understand how it works. So basically, we create a class, we add the properties, we add the methods, we add constructors if we want, or destructors, and then we add our data inside here, or in another way, you know, you can just get them into the database, create a new car, and then just put the data inside from the database inside the class, and then, you know, use it in the whole platform. For example, when we use a login system, we have user as a class. You know, a user has a first name, last name, email, blah 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 blah. All these are created into this, you know, class user, and then you have their respective, you know, data. So that's it for this tutorial. Thank you very much. I hope you understood the basics here, and I hope I didn't make it so hard. But feel free to ask me if you have any question, and see you in the next video. Take care and have a nice day.